Hello, everyone, and welcome to Online Presenters, a virtual Toastmasters club. I'm your Sergeant at Arms, Sunny Fridge, aka Dr. Sunny. We're excited to have both members and guests. And guests, we welcome you to join us. Please note, in order to join us and to be a member of our club, you must be a current or former active member of Toastmasters International and have completed at least 6 Toastmasters official speeches. However, if you have substantial, relevant presentation experience, we welcome you to apply for membership after demonstrating your abilities in a 2 to 3 minute speech delivered during one of our club meetings. Please be aware that all votes for this club are at the approval of our members. If you have not already done so, please take a look and change your panel to ensure it displays your name and role. Simply hover over your video, right-click, and select Rename. And mute your microphones when you're not speaking. We have members and guests from many countries around the world. As a professional organization, we ask that you please be aware of language or word usage that may be considered offensive or otherwise insensitive due to cultural differences. And please note, we're recording this meeting. Your video and audio contribution may be used for club marketing purposes. And now, please help me welcome to the virtual stage our club president, Joni Laidlaw. Joni, are you with us?
No, Joni is not, because Joni's an apology, but
Joni is probably coming in from another meeting, but we have our host with the most, Toastmaster of the Day, Dr. Andrew Byrne. Welcome, Andy.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, Joni had called me up and said that she wasn't feeling well and she couldn't attend, and would I be happy to be the Toastmaster of the Day. So I accommodated her and I said I'd be happy to help out the group. We updated the schedule a little bit, and Graham has reviewed that. What we're going to do is, for those that are new and guests, our group meeting is following an agenda that has 3 components. The first is we have prepared speeches. The second is that we have table topics or impromptu speaking. And the third, most important, is that we have evaluation so we can learn from what we've experienced, because Toastmasters is an experiential learning process. So we hope that you enjoy it as much as we do. The other unique thing that we have is we have what's known as Tip of the Day, and I'll be trying to do that. Sonny, make sure that I have access to slides, because I know sometimes it's turned off because I don't have hosting right now.
Okay. I thought I made you a co-host, but I have a quick question. What is that background? I have to know that. What is your background? Is that Chocolate Day or something?
Well, no, it was my 50th wedding anniversary.
And
right. As part of that, we went to Burns Steakhouse, and they're divided into 2 parts. They have the main restaurant, and then when you finish with that, you go upstairs to the dessert restaurant. And the dessert restaurant has a menu of items that's about the size of a New York City phone book. And they have different kinds of liquors, wines, desserts, and pies, and they make all of them, the desserts and the ice creams, by hand every morning. So what this is a chocolate lava cake with a chocolate scoop of ice cream, a whole chocolate wafer, whipped cream, and strawberries. And it was
wow. It looks delicious. And sorry for, I just had to ask. So you just have history about everything. And don't forget to tell us about our theme as you go on.
Okay. So our theme for the day is one of the anniversary in 1868. On this date was the final signing and approval of the 14th Amendment in the United States, which gives everybody born here a birthright citizenship that people have known about since 1868. And some people are trying to change that more recently. But that's what we're celebrating today, that there is a birthright situation for anybody born in this country. And we welcome everybody, just like we welcome everybody here at Toastmasters. And it's one big happy family. We're going to start our meeting with the tip of the day. And hopefully, we all know from David's experiences that if you have technology that you're going to show, the chances of it blowing up on you is great. But before I get to the tip of the day, I want to introduce you to what we call functionaries, people that are going to be contributing in innumerable ways to the wealth of this meeting. And let me start off with our timer. Sarah, tell us about what you do.
Thank you, Andy. As timer, I will be keeping track of the meeting, especially the speeches, the evaluations, and table topics. And the timer's job is to keep us on track so that everybody can practice being on time. For the speeches, it's my understanding that they are both 5 to 7 minutes. Yeah, 5 to 7 minutes.
Correct. That's correct.
So okay, thank you. So at 5 minutes, we will see the green color. At 5.5, yellow. At 6 minutes, yellow, and at 7 minutes, red. For our evaluations, they are 2 to 3 minutes. At 2, we will see green, 2.5 yellow, and at 3 minutes, it will be red. For our table topics, they're 1 to 2 minutes. So at 1 minute, we will see green, at 1.5 yellow, and at 2 minutes, red. And I will be giving a report when asked to do so at the end of the meeting.
Thank you so very much. Our next functionary is Jim Barber, who is our grammarian. Tell us about your role, Jim.
And the word of the day nope, I handed that off.
Oh, whoever's Sonny doing it?
I'm not sure.
Is anybody?
I believe I'm doing our counter.
Okay, who's doing the grammarian?
How about we drop grammarian because we're now running behind time.
Okay. He is really watching time today. Thank you, sir. If I have at least one, I'll add that into the eye counter. Thank you. And my role as eye counter, would you like me to give that now?
Yes, please.
Okay, well, I will. Wow, that's a filler word, really. My duties as eye counter are to keep a record of all filler words and sounds such as but, so, like, and maybe well. Any other distracting sounds by speakers. And when I am called upon, I'll give the results at the end of the meeting. Back to you.
Sounds fantastic. We have a watcher, which is pretty unique to our club, and that is David Carr, unless he handed it off to somebody.
No, I'm the watcher, Jim.
Oh.
Did we change that? Because I signed up for that role, David.
Okay.
But that's okay because I'm doing an evaluation. So if you want to keep that role, that's okay.
I can do it. I had it was showing as open on the agenda, so I grabbed it.
I'm not sure why.
Okay. So as a watcher, I will be watching. So if you manage to incorporate some body language to what's visible in this little square, that would be great. I will watch also for the use of virtual backgrounds, of slides. We're always looking to whether you have used any of the special effects you might choose to use effectively. So are they accelerating your message or are they distracting from it? So I'll give a little report at the end of the meeting. I will also be your vote counter for today. And so whenever we have something to vote on, I will drop a link in the chat. Guests are encouraged to click on that link. Members are encouraged to click on that link. In general, it works pretty well. It's a digital voting system that does some of the math for me, tallies up the votes. If something doesn't work particularly well, let me know. We do also have a mobile app. If anybody has the mobile app, you can use the mobile app to also vote on the best person for whatever role of the day. But So those are my roles.
Thank you. So Christine, you're doing the evaluation, and we covered our chat monitor, and David's also the bell counter, and he covered that. The next step that we're going to do is go and give you a tip of the day. How many people, by a show of hands, have become familiarized with AI as it's been impacting your life, your programs? Because every time you turn around, everybody is saying our program now is incorporated with AI. So it looks like a lot of people have done that, myself included. And the first step in AI is what? Does everyone know this? The first step with AI is to be able to identify a prompt. So I put in the chat a prompt that I just did when I was exposed to the brand new Prezi AI program. I just put in that prompt, and what happened then, if it works, is I'm going to share my screen, and is it there? Okay. Prezi, where did you go? Okay. Let me open it up again. Let me pull out. As David says, I should have recorded it and then just shown the recording. But what this did with that prompt that I provided for you is a 23 slides on the topic that I identified. And to me, that was pretty impressive, that with just that prompting, it generated an entire slide set for me. And I'm going to just try and find it again. There we go. Okay, here we go. And you'll see and this is why we recommend, if you have something to show and tell, record it as a movie and then just play the movie, because then it'll make it easier to do that. But here is the show, and tell me if you can or cannot see this on your screen. Are you seeing this?
We are seeing it.
Yeah.
You are or not?
Yes, we are.
Okay, good. So this is from that prompt. All of this was done from that one prompt. And as you see, I'm clicking this over here, the next button, and it's talking about club officer training for Toastmasters. And Prezi is unique in that once you do their slides, they take you around to different locations. So it's included text, it's included pictures, it's included an orientation for the whole structure. And I go a little bit faster so we don't spend too much time on this. But it goes through all the things that we would talk about with roles and responsibilities of the officers. And it even goes through the evolution of club officer training from 2010 to when it changed in 2015, 2020, and 2023. And it then zooms in on each of those slides. That's one of the differences about Prezi. Very different from a PowerPoint or Keynote. You get taken all over this big, large canvas that they create. And I didn't do one bit of any of these things. It was all created by Prezi, and it took us to an engaging question and answer session. That's 23 slides. It took me about less than 5 minutes to think through what the prompting of that would be. And then I just hit the button, and less than 2 minutes later, I had a 23 slide presentation on the topic. And I've been playing around a lot with AI, and this is just the surface. I've just worked with, I just received a document from an AI social media company that is Toastmaster related. And it takes the entire role of the VPPR and turns it into a series of prompts that you can use every day for 30 days and create a huge impact on membership at your club. I'm anxious to try it. Back to me as the Toastmaster to bring on what we're very excited about, which is our first speaker. And our first speaker is Kirthikka, and it's a 5 to 7 minute speech. I don't have here the title of the speech, so if you can help me out with that and help with your introduction, and then we'll start the time when you're ready to go. Kirthikka, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm with you. Just give me a minute.
Okay. Technology.
Exactly. Okay. I'm on it.
Snowing.
It was a cold, freezing weather. Ice and her mother were staying in a fun-packed, frosty climate in an Antarctic, near to an Antarctic place. Ice did not have many friends. She was quite comfortable having the snow fall onto her. She used to play, slide, and glide in a place which is quite comfortable. This is Ice Mother. She used to travel a long distance for her work. It was quite annoying for her. By that time, Ice was all alone. She felt completely lost. She always wanted to be with a lot of people, but her only friend was her pink mitten and a pink sweater, the muffler which she used to wear and have a brisk walk all through the day whenever she finds time. Ice was a kind of an ecstatic person. She finds peace in herself. But when her mother said that they were going to a new place because of her job, a new work that she's going to get, Ice did not find it to be a great news. They started traveling with the walrus, shark, and many other creatures over to a new place, traveling all through the day and night. On the way, she found something that was provided by one of the walrus, and it was a banana. She copied what others did, as she did not know that looked like a strange fish to her. When she tasted it, she puked it, and then she tried to adjust with whatever is given or provided to her. She felt upside down. They reached a new place. This is Ice in a jungle. Ice was again back to a new place where she wanted to make good friends. Lily was one little girl whom she got introduced to. Lily took her, comforted her, and introduced all of her friends in the new place. Once Ice met Lily, she felt so soothing and comforting. She said hi to every single friend that Lily introduced to her. She also found the place to be a bit of not similar like she was living earlier. Though Ice did not give up, she started mingling with a new set of people that she knew. Ice is now with her friends, the zebra, elephants, macaw, and lot many birds, along with Cola. Ice felt a bit of charm in her face where she met a lot of people instead of being all alone. Next day was her school. They said hello to Ice. Ice did not feel so comfortable. She did not understand a word. They considered Ice to be in a completely strange looking person. They wanted Ice to be known to every single person, and they started questioning her a lot. But Ice found peace just by being silent and not answering to not many questions because she's not used to it. Ice felt that she has to go back to the old place. She did went back to a different ecstasy giving place where she can mingle with friends, and also she could get the comfort of the old place. And that is how Ice became quite popular in a new place with a new set of friends, giving herself some time to adapt, becoming flexible, but finding her inner peace, not to lose any of her own comfortable zone. Thus, Ice, the Supreme, got back to the old place where she was quite comfortable being all alone, but making new friends, getting them back along with her to the new place. And this is the story of Ice. Over to you, Andrew.
Well, thank you very much. And it was very appropriate you gave this fantastic story, because you know what today is? Today's the first day of a 3-day summit on children's books. And they have this summit where all the authors are gathering together in this one location. I'll put that information into the chat. And you can have that wonderful story as part of what's going on at that children's summit. Fantastic job. Our next speaker is Graham. I don't have your title, Graham. So if you can help me out with that.
It's in the chat.
It's in the chat. I wasn't looking at the chat. Okay.
And the personal private chat to you, that should be there.
Okay. In the WhatsApp chat or the Zoom chat?
No, in the chat, the chat beside you in Zoom.
Okay, let me look for that. Okay, Graham Cairns will be presenting the Effective Coaching Level 2 presentation, Introduction to Mentoring. In this project, Graham is asked to reflect a period of time when he has been a protege and his interaction with his mentor. He asks, how do we absorb attitudes from our mentors, and why does that matter? In his speech entitled Osiris versus Osmosis, I give you Graham Cairns for 5 to 7 minutes.
Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, according to the mythology of the Ennead, which is the ancient Egyptian mythology, Osiris was the great-grandson of the first god Ra, and he inherited the throne as the king of Egypt when Ra receded from the earth and decided he didn't want to have anything to do with humans anymore, so he handed it over to Osiris. He was actually quite active in human affairs. Osiris, according to the mythology, ruled justly. He set in place laws that led to a peaceful society, and he had taught the Egyptians things like agricultural techniques. That definition, by the way, comes from Catherine McClymont, who's the professor of the Department of Religious Studies at Georgia State University. And she did a great series of lectures called Great Mythologies of the World, which you really should check out if you get the opportunity. So that's Osiris. Osmosis, on the other hand, sounds the same, but is something seriously different. Osmosis is the process whereby something is absorbed into something else, despite there being a barrier in between them. James Hardy at the University of Akron puts it, two compartments are separated by a semi-permeable membrane. Now, the size of that membrane means small particles like ions and molecules, they can pass freely through, but it's big enough to stop large particles from getting through. What it effectively means is that things can go from one into the other, but cannot come back again. That's how osmosis works, or at least that's what it means in physics and biology, and as Andrew would no doubt tell you, in medicine. But what we normally mean by osmosis in human terms is that if we are surrounded by a greater concentration of something, for example, knowledge, or prejudice for that matter, or even a sense of humour, then that passes into us as if by osmosis. We're not even aware that we're learning. It simply soaks in. This is particularly true for those of us who read a lot. Over the last 60 years, I'd like to think that I've learned a bit, some of it by osmosis, that is, by figures who have passed on knowledge to me from above in a formal training sense, and some of it by osmosis, by mentors who have taught me, good or bad, simply by being who they are. Before I get into talking about those mentors and what they have taught me willingly or otherwise, it's important that we discuss mentoring in general. It differs from coaching. For example, the word mentor comes from Telemachus, the son of Odysseus in the Iliad and the Odyssey. Where does mentor come from? Well, you see, in the Iliad, Odysseus was really a pretty crap dad. I mean, he was going to be away for years. He knew he wasn't going to raise his son properly. And so he needed somebody to give him all the stuff that sons need to know. You know, a father figure. The father figure was mentor. That's actually a name of the man who was the coach for Telemachus. He and the goddess Athena, who assumed his form as a disguise, taught Telemachus everything he needed to know in a whole lot of aspects over his life. He was the original mentor. Well, since then, a mentor has come to mean a man or a woman, let's be honest, mostly a man, who provides ongoing advice and support to a younger man or woman, sometimes to a peer and sometimes even to an elder. And we all have mentors. And in many cases, we are mentors. But the really interesting thing is what we learn from them. I have had some mentors who have taken the role of Osiris. Professionally, the most important mentor I have ever had was my first news director as a journalist. He took me as a young, enthusiastic, but not particularly skilled junior journalist, and he taught me an enormous amount. And I will never forget Tony Bartlett and the role that he played in turning me from that wet behind the ears young journalist to, well, somebody who managed to get 40 years out of journalism, which I thought was pretty good. But there have been other mentors who haven't been quite so successful. Mentors who have surrounded me and from whom I have learned things, and they are not always the right thing. But worse, I have found myself in that role. I was, for example, a news director at one of the biggest radio newsrooms in Australia. And part of my role was to mentor the young journalists. And one of the things that I would try to tell them was that it was important that you manage your time. It is important that you don't procrastinate. It is important that you don't put off until tomorrow what you can do today. And I told them this. But did I show them that? Not always. Sometimes I would leave things to the last moment. I suspect I'm not alone in doing that. Sometimes I would not be walking the walk. I would be talking the talk, but not walking the walk. What do you think that my proteges absorbed from me? That which I was telling them, or that which I was showing them? If you find yourself in a position where you have proteges, even if it's not in a formal mentor protege sense. If you find that you are in that elder spokesperson role, consider the lessons that you are teaching your proteges. You have the choice. You can be Osiris, that is, imparting information from outside. Or you can be teaching them by osmosis, whether you intend to or not. I think it's a valuable lesson that we all need to consider. What are you teaching, whether as osmosis or as Osiris? Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very, very much. That was very informative, and we learned so much. You mentioned biology, and there's a thing beside a permeable membrane is the blood-brain barrier. And the blood-brain barrier is not necessarily permeable in two directions. So you have different proteins and chemicals that can get into the brain through the blood-brain barrier, but you can get, many of them cannot. So thank you for bringing up that point. And I've just put into the chat something that people might find useful as the art of mentoring. It's a little cartoon about that. So we've had our two speakers, and we now move. Do we have, Andre, do we have any prospective member speeches?
No, this I'm aware of, not.
Okay, so that takes us right to a fun part, which is called impromptu speaking. It's going to be Topics Master, and our Topics Master for this segment is going to be Marianne Grady. Take it away.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm so happy to be with you. Tonight, Table Topics, for those of you who may not know, is where we practice impromptu speaking, or kind of off the top of your head. I believe it's one of the most important skills we can develop here at Toastmasters because we do it every day. Somebody stops you in the hall, asks you a question, you have to talk. We try and think about it in terms of telling a mini story, a beginning, a middle, an end, and you have 1 to 2 minutes to do it. So tonight, given our theme of the anniversary of the 14th Amendment, which was the birthright, if you were born here in the United States, but I decided to go more towards like citizenship and community to go along with that theme so everyone could be responding to these questions. So the first question I'm going to ask to Sherry. Sherry, do you believe citizenship should be earned or granted by birth?
Thank you so much, Marianne. And, thank you for putting me on the spot. Should it be earned or given? Birthright. Well, the way that birthright citizenship, as I understand it, would be someone. Well, let me just make sure I understand this. And, obviously you don't have to answer me. It'll just be me walking through it in my mind. But my understanding about birthright citizenship is if someone is born in this country, but their parents aren't citizens, should they have birthright citizenship? That's what I'm believing the question is. Or
I don't think it was that specific. I think it's anybody, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the United States.
It could be just anywhere. Okay, so my feeling about citizenship is that if you are born in a country, doesn't matter the country, you should be a citizen. That's my thoughts on it. That if you're born in a country, it doesn't matter if your parents aren't citizens. If you were born in this country, you should be able to become a citizen, and it should not have to be earned. I was born in this country, and my parents were born in this country, and I became a citizen through that birthright, I guess. But yes, it should be something that is given if you're born in a particular country and not earned. Now, if you weren't born in this country and you're trying to become a citizen, then that's a different story. And then in that case, you should have to go through the process of becoming a citizen, whichever route you have to take according to the country that you're pursuing it in. Thank you so much, Marianne. Back to you.
Well, thank you, ma'am. Now, our next question, I'm going to ask it to Annie, our guest. Tell us about a time when you felt truly included or excluded in a community.
Oh, thank you very much, Madam Table Topics Master. There's probably a number of times I felt completely included. I am going to go back straight away to the easy one, and that would have to be Toastmasters. Walking in there 10 years ago, I was a school principal, and it's a lonely life being a school principal because you have to tell other people what to do, and they generally, it's at your own peril that they become your closest friends. And I needed an outlet of some other intelligent, lovely, interesting, articulate people that I wanted to hang out with. I walked in there as Anne Martin, which was my name back then. And the second I walked in, for some reason, I just said, my name is Annie. And I've since legally changed it to that. So for me, being Annie Martin is very much part of being a Toastmaster. But from day one, in terms of being included into a community, I felt, this is back in Adelaide, and that's for Graham, who knows about Adelaide. I felt like I had an instant group of friends. I felt there was a community that sort of wrapped around and that did not judge me as being in any sort of hierarchy. So everybody there was treated exactly equal, no matter their background, no matter their lineage, no matter their ability or their role, whatever. So it was such a community that wrapped around. And as we all know, Toastmasters transcends our race and our backgrounds and even our DNA tests. It transcends all of that. Thank you so much for the question, Marianne.
Thank you, Annie. Now the next question I'm going to ask is to Andrei Smolenko. Andrei, what does it mean to be a citizen beyond holding a passport?
Thank you very much for this question, Marianne. Since I have a dual citizenship, I'm Ukrainian citizen by birth, and I'm British citizen by earning, by working, by sweating and learning again. I think it's important to be able to just talk freely about pros and cons of all the things about the citizenships and what could happen in our lives. For example, my children were born British citizen and then Ukrainian by birth. And from time to time, I just joke with them about, look, you never did anything for Her Majesty the King these days, but you already under his protection. And thanks to moi and your mom. And it works for a while. And then I need to come up with something else. At the same time, there is the theory that we're all citizens of the world and we all should be equal. But in reality, human beings just cannot be equal, and they will never be. We all have different needs and we all give differently to society, in my way. At the same time, when you can make a good joke within your family without being judged, and hopefully that would spark a nice and fun discussion, as we just had. Back to you, Marianne.
Well, thank you. That's a very interesting perspective. Andy, do we have time for more?
It's 8:24. We have, yes, because we have the time, only 2 evaluations.
Okay, well then I am going to ask Kirthikka. I know you were a speaker today, but if you were born in a different country, how do you think your life would be different?
It depends on the country that I am born in. Especially if it is a forward-moving country, which doesn't bother about culture. It depends completely on the set of things that I get in, especially a family where we value mostly like being together improves our or increases our strength, but in a different culture where job and career progression improves your status of living. It's true in both the sense. It's true in a way how you get adapted to a different country and to a different culture. Both are quite important. And I think if I am born in a different country and a different citizenship, I personally feel I would have got greater elevation than my current status. Over to you, Mariam.
Thank you so much. One last question, David Carr. What's one law or policy you think best reflects the values of equality? Making everybody think tonight.
What's one law or custom, did you say?
Law or custom, yes, sir.
I guess I think of the Declaration of Independence, of the ideal that proposed of all men are created equal, entitled to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. What a simple statement. Of course, it came from a very flawed man, Thomas Jefferson. Flawed, complicated, whatever you want to call him, who understood the value of equality in an abstract philosophical sense, and yet practiced being a slave owner for his entire life. And, by some accounts, worse than that. And yet left us with this ideal. Left us with this ideal that on many dimensions, our citizens, our government don't always live up to. And yet, a beautiful ideal, a simple ideal. I mean, it's not a law, it's not a custom. I mean, the Declaration of Independence was basically a philosophical statement. It wasn't until the Constitution came along many years later that any of these principles were encoded. Again, very imperfectly. And yet, I also appreciate that concept that's embodied in the US Constitution of pursuing a more perfect union over time. And I can certainly feel that the United States has maybe gotten off track a bit on pursuing that goal, but it is still there. It is still an ideal. It is still a powerful ideal, and it's something that we should strive to live up to. Madam Topics Master.
Beautifully put, David, and I do hope they write that train soon. All right, back to you. Oh, wait, I believe everyone was within timer, is that true?
Yes, everyone was in time.
Actually,
Okay,
I could use a reminder in the chat of everybody who spoke, because I forgot to note that down. I want to put together.
Okay, I'll put them in. I have everybody's name.
Okay, thank you.
All righty, so back to you, Andrew Byrne.
Okay, some people say the next segment of our meeting is the most critical, the most important, the one that requires your complete and absolute attention. That's the evaluation section, to give feedback and insight into how you performed during your meeting, particularly if you gave a speech or talked at all. To lead us in this section, we have Asil providing us the role of general evaluator. Go ahead, Asil. Dazzle us.
Thank you so much, Mr. Toastmaster. fellow Toastmasters, yes, as the general evaluator, I will lead the evaluation segment of the meeting and coordinate the evaluation team today, our wonderful team. So I'll start with our first evaluator, Christine. Christine, where are you? Here. Yeah, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters guests, and especially Kirthikka. From the moment you began speaking, I was drawn in because, like me, you were telling a story. I'm a storyteller. I felt the quiet power of a well-told narrative, the kind that informs, but also transforms, and a very interesting take on ice. Your story held that magic for me, and I felt like I was just sitting on the edge of my seat as I journeyed with ice, and you were the gentle tour guide leading us through this wonderful experience. Your voice and tone, the modulation came across clearly. When you spoke of ice in her new look, ice in peace, ice in ecstasy, ice in supreme, the imagery was well supported by what you had up on screen, and it deepened the connection of what it was you were conveying. Each version of ice felt like its own chapter, and I really appreciated how vivid and beautiful and storytelling and childlike the images were, because they communicated the emotion behind each scene, and I felt myself going, yay, with ice. If I could offer a suggestion, at times I noticed that your hand disappeared. The one hand I saw disappeared behind the light. And so I couldn't see what was happening with your hand. Joni always talks about reframing. I also think that some of the pictures that you had, some of the images, you kind of blocked them out. I had actually picked up one, but I don't know where I dropped it. But you had kind of blocked out some of the images. And as a result, you kept moving. I'm not sure if that was part of the delivery or you were trying to show the image that was there. So that kind of distracted me a little bit. But all in all, it was a well done delivery. It was masterful, and it truly presented on your level 2 project of communicating gestures. And I'm stumbling around this because I got the information a little late, but it was a good presentation of the level 2 project entitled ICE. That's what I was looking for active listening. I certainly was listening in actively. Well done. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Christine, for your evaluation. And Tia, it's winter here in New Zealand at the moment, so your background snowing was felt very fitting. Thank you so much, Kirthikka, for your wonderful speech, and Christine for your wonderful evaluation. Next, I will call our second evaluator, Jim Barber. Please, Jim.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, and my fellow Toastmasters, and of course, especially Toastmaster Graham. Graham, this was, as usual, a magnificent presentation. But let me tell you why it was magnificent. In no particular order, you opened and carried throughout your presentation a myth. We love stories, and a myth is the ultimate story. So this was wonderful. I loved the use of mythology behind as a basis of your presentation. Now, another thing is, at one point in your presentation, you said, before I get into, and you started describing something. I love that technique. You're giving us what's going to happen, but at the same time, you're going in a slightly different direction at the moment. So that gives us both anticipation of what's to come, but keeps us on target as to what you are doing. I like that. Another point, you used the idiom wet behind the ears. We have to be careful in a culturally diverse group like we have here, people may not recognize, of course, what wet behind the ears means. However, you used it so well that I think anybody would pick up from context exactly what it describes. So you introduced an idiom, you in a sense explained the idiom at the same time that you were using it. I like that. That was very well done. And towards the end of your presentation, you several times repeated, it is important that, it is important that this, it is important that that, it is important that this other. I love the way that you repeated that. I have one small suggestion for you. It's so small that I'm embarrassed to even mention it, but you didn't leave me with anything else. At the end of your presentation, you said, I think it's a valuable lesson that, whatever. You are the authority. You don't think. You simply say, it is a valuable lesson, not I think it's a valuable lesson. That is such a tiny, tiny little thing, but it's the only spec that you gave me to give as a suggestion. That is it. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Before I will get into, I just loved your evaluation, Jim. Thank you so much for doing this. And I really enjoyed your speech, Graham. I'll always enjoy your speech. Well, now we can start with our functionaries today. And we have 3 functionaries, a timer, a counter, and watcher. So we'll start with our timer. Sarah, are you there?
Thank you, General Evaluator Asil.
Okay.
All of our speakers came in time today. For our speaker, Kirthikka, 5 minutes, 12 seconds. Graham, 7 minutes and 7 seconds. For our table topics, Sherry, 2 minutes, 5 seconds. Annie, 1 minute, 44. Andre, 1 minute, 40. Kirthikka, 1 minute, 05. And David, 2 minutes, 16. For our evaluators, Christine, 2 minutes, 37 seconds. Jim, 2 minutes and 28 seconds. Back to you, General Evaluator Asil.
Thank you so much for timing us today. Thank you. Our counter, Dr. Sani. Where are you?
I am here, Madam General Evaluator. Today we had quite a few ums, ands, and buts. We got a lot of buts going on. David Carr, you had 3 ums, a so, an and 3 buts. Kirthikka, you had an and, 3 buts, and you mentioned many birds. At least that's what I heard, and it would have probably been a lot of birds or many birds. Graham, during your speaking, 2 so's, 4 ands, and 3 buts. Marianne, 5 ums, 2 so's, and 1 but. I think you said but worse. Sherry, 1 so, 2 ands, a but, and a well. Annie, 1 so, 2 ands. Andre, 5 ums and an and 5 ands. Asil, 2 ums. Christine, 2 ums. A so, 2 ands. And you had a couple of double clutches. You said I'm, and good, and you had a kinda instead of kind of. And Jim, 1 and 2 buts. Overall, we're doing well. I would just say, when possible, you can pause, and it may help cut down some of your filler words and sounds. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sani, for your report. And someone has been watching us. Who is watching us? David, yay!
There's probably nothing that so much drew the eye as what Kirthikka did today. I think Sil is the only one who has treated us to that kind of visual storytelling. And, you know, it's probably a unique art to present something like that with kind of a storybook going on in the background. Kirthikka did mention in the chat that this is actually adapted from an actual storybook, but she presented it very well, very smoothly. And I think there definitely are lessons that you could take away from that for something that's more of a professional presentation, where you're trying to keep it a little bit less stuffy, and you're using the visuals in an engaging way in the background. Might actually have something to do with the theme of AI that we heard about earlier. That I imagine that might have been part of the process of producing some of those images. But at any rate, it was masterfully done, and it's the most remarkable thing I can say about our visuals tonight, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, David. Fellow Toastmasters and dear guests, did you enjoy the meeting? Well, I certainly did. The table topics were truly thought-provoking, exploring ideas around citizenship, whether it is earned or simply inherited. Everyone sounded so intelligently smart. I was so happy that you didn't ask me, Madam Table Topics Master, but great job. Those are really fantastic questions, and I learned a lot. Well, other than that, we really, really, really need to take signing up for roles in advance more seriously. Please take a moment to do that when you can. Otherwise, we'll end up asking, did you take that role or should I double it again? So being silly, slightly chaotic is what gives us sense of family. Whether we want to run it smoothly and professionally or simply enjoy that cozy Toastmasters family feeling, signing up helps us do both. And we will help our wonderful Vice President Education, Graham, and let's make that job a little bit easy. That's what I wanted to say today, but I really, really enjoyed the meeting. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster, Dr. Andrew.
Thank you. Everybody pulled together at the last minute and before to make this a fantastic meeting. And look, it's 8:43. So we actually have some additional time that we can share with everybody about what's important to each of you. Let me start off with our guests. Are they still with us? Yes. Annie, tell us about how you found us, how you came to us, and what your experience has been.
Oh, I enjoyed it very much. Yes. So to answer your last question first, yeah, I enjoyed it very much. I am just so curious about where you are all from. That's something that I can't yet quite gain from just what's on the screen and what you said. Some of you, I can hear your accents or whatever, but I'd love to know that. I came to you because I was just beginning to look for something outside of my own district. And when COVID came, I was one of the people in the minority who really, really enjoyed being online. And I thought, hey, hang on, I can combine two things here. I can get out of my district easily, and which I love my district. I'm in 3 clubs there. But I can also go back to online presenting, which I genuinely enjoyed. Really great meeting. And are you weekly?
Yes, we are.
I would love to come along next week if you'll have me.
Well, of course, we would like to have you. Everybody would like to see you there. Okay, we have another guest. We actually had 2 more guests. One of them I don't still see on the thing.
Matitia's left.
Matitia's left. Well, we have anything else for the tape recording of how good our club is and what things are doing? I would like to certainly point out our congratulations to Graham, because he went quite a far distance as he was heading towards the World Championship of Public Speaking in Philadelphia at the international meeting. So tell us about your experiences. And as you went through the semifinal and then the quarterfinal, were you feeling more and more comfortable that you could actually make it to the World Championship, or did you have some doubts?
We're all familiar, I suspect, with the concept of imposter syndrome. That is where we really doubt that we are as good as other people think we are. We think they're going to learn one day that I am faking this, that I really don't know what I'm doing. I felt like that all the way through this cycle. For background, some of you may or may not know that I have won at a district level in the table topics, or impromptu as it was called back in those days. I have won at evaluation at a district level. I've made it as far as the district level in humorous, got to the district stage, got third in fact, so I guess that's placing. But I have never, prior to this year, got past area level with an international speech. I've always thought I just don't have the international speech in me. So you could have blown me down when I managed to breeze past club and area and division and then district with a speech that you've seen and you know is important to me. For Annie, it's a speech where I talk about surviving childhood sexual abuse and the ramifications that that has had throughout my life. I felt that it was an important speech, and I felt that I had a good chance to get through the quarterfinals, the regionals, if you like. And under the old way that it was organized, I would have had, I think, a better chance, because the way that it used to be decided was the best two from each region went through. But now they take the 130, however many regions there are, they select the winner from each of those, throw them into a spreadsheet, and then you're up against 8 or 9 other contestants. As it turns out, I think 5 of this year's semi-finalists come from the one region, just because of the way that that weighting works now. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that, but it does mean that, you know, those of us, it's not quite the same as it was. I genuinely thought I had a chance to get through to the semis, but then again, I also genuinely thought that I would get knocked out at area and then at division and then at district. So to have got to the quarters, I'm chuffed. And I was, in fact, seriously thinking about, okay, I've had my shot. I'm not going to do it again. And then we had Louisa along, the world champion, a few weeks back. And she said, don't take it personally. It's just that on the day you didn't speak to a particular judge. And I thought to myself, she's right, you know. So I'm going to give it another shot this year and see if I can go 1, 2, or please 3 levels beyond I did. That's what I'm aiming for.
It's wonderful.
Andrew, I do have winners to announce based on tonight's voting.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead, David.
Okay, let's do that. So our winners. Now, I will tell you that we did get enough votes that the vote totals changed a couple of times. At one point, I thought I might even get something. I got a couple of votes. But for table topics, it's Annie Martin. We do tend to appreciate our guests who participate, but also based on the merits, it's Annie Martin. And for best evaluator for the evening, it's Christine Stigley-Banks. Best speaker, again, We have some serious competition in this club. We have some high-level speakers. But tonight, it's Kirthikka. Congratulations, Kirthikka. Congratulations to all our weekly winners. And, you know, one of these days, you're going to be standing on the stage next to Graham, going for that world championship.
Okay. I was going to ask David how he felt about being selected to be a presenter, but being only 10 minutes left, let's get the people set up for next week first. And if there's any time left over, or if you want to stay, we can hear how David was selected to present and what his thoughts are. So, Vice President of Education, will you take over and guide us through everybody signing up for roles for next week?
Certainly. Thank you very much, Toastmaster.
Do you want it recorded?
No, you need to stop now. We've had the guest comments and things, so yep.